Hi, a very good day to all of you. This is Professor Dr. Amir Hussain from School of Management, Presidency University. In today's session, we're going to cover a topic which is related with marketing. We all talk about different type of strategies. We discuss about corporate strategy, we discuss about business strategy, we also talk about functional strategy. In today's class, we're going to talk about a specific strategy in marketing called market matching strategy. We can also call this strategy as STP, that is segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So basically, this strategy, we focus on the three steps, that is segmentation, and then we focus on targeting, and then we focus on positioning. So we are not going to focus on all these three topics. We're going to focus only on the first stage of market matching strategy, that is segmentation, so that we can have this short video. Now, before we get deep into this concept of segmentation, we need to understand one more concept which is related with segmentation, or which comes before segmentation. We call it as mass marketing approach strategy. Now, first let us understand what is mass marketing, and then we'll decode what is segmentation. Right. So what is mass marketing? So mass marketing is a strategy which presumes that there is one undifferentiated market and that one product will appeal to all the consumers in that particular market. So basically here, it's a kind of strategy where we assume that the market is not different. And we come to a conclusion that let us not offer different product to different market, whereas we will offer one product to all the market. Now here, in this case, we have to understand that in general, market is different or market is homogeneous. Imagine a world like this. Imagine a world like this where there is only one gender, and where there is only one age group, and where there is only one emotion. Now tell me, if we have a world like this where we have only one gender, only one age group, only one emotion, do you think so we need to have different products? Of course no. Only one product can suit to all of them. Only one dress can suit to all these particular human beings. But are we living in this kind of world? The answer is no. So which means that we are living in a world where we are different. So, but the concept of mass marketing is all about you offer one product to all the markets. So which means the market in general, it is different. But we ignore that difference and we come to a conclusion that we wanted to offer one product for all the market. Now, why do we do so? Why do we want to have one product for all the market? Why don't we have different product for different people? The answer goes back to the early part of 20th century. Just go back to the year 1913. Go back to the year 1913 where Ford revolutionized the concept of moving assembly line. So we all know about Ford, that he was the one who invented the car. And he didn't stop with this. He also came up with the concept of moving assembly line. The concept of moving assembly line, what he did was, he came up with the concept of this conveyor belt where it will be carrying the chassis of the car from one station to another station, wherein a worker will be working on this. So what happened? Initially, when he came up with this car, during the year 1908, the car was priced so high. It was costing something like $825 one car, and it took almost 12 hours for them to assemble it. But what happened after they have come up with this concept, that is a concept of moving assembly line, they were able to manufacture in mass, because of which the cost of manufacturing has come down. Because of that, the price has come down from $825 to $260 for one car, and also the time of manufacturing has also come down. So he was able to achieve this because of standardization. He standardized the model of the car. He standardized the model of the car as only one model, T model. No sedan, no hatchback, no SUV, no TUV, no XUV. Only one model, that is T model. Second, he also standardized the color of the car. You can check in his autobiography where he has mentioned that any customer can have any car so long as it is painted in black. So which means that he is too much biased towards a black color. So technically speaking, he meant to say that you don't have any other choice for color. It's only black color what we are offering it. But in today's world, do you think so it is practically possible? When someone says that we have bought a car, the next question what you'll be asking is, what's the color of the car, right? So color of the car really matters a lot. In fact, the model of the car also really matters a lot. So that was not the era where Ford lived in. He was mainly focused on reducing the manufacturing cost, reducing the cost of production, so that he can pass on the benefit to the customer. Now, this was the one where we started with the concept of mass marketing. So in mass marketing, you need to remember these three important terms. Why do we have mass marketing? For three reasons. Number one, through mass marketing, you can have something called mass production, like how produced this T model car. For every 90 minutes, he was able to produce one car. Initially, it took almost 12 hours. From 12 hours, he was able to bring it down to 90 minutes, almost 1.5 hours. That is mass production. Second thing is that mass distribution. You need not to distribute different models at different locations or different channels. You can have mass distributions and mass advertisement. You can just focus on any specific advertisement platform like radio. You can have one brand ambassador. So these are all some of the advantages of mass marketing approach. Because of that only, during that point of time, many companies embraced this mass marketing approach, and many companies approach this concept of moving assembly line. Even in bakeries also, they started using this kind of concept, which Ford invented it. But the question here is this concept still relevant for us? Yes, to a certain extent. Think about these type of brands like Coke, Procter & Gamble, in fact, RGO for that matter. They don't focus just only on any specific segment. I'm telling a company as a whole, not any specific product of these companies. They try to cater to the general audience. Say for example, Coke, I'm talking about the classical Coke, not the Diet Coke. They cater to the general audience so that they can approach to all people. They focus on the mass marketing approach. In fact, think about a product or any kind of promotion like vaccine. Few years before, the government, okay, they wanted to promote it to all the people. So whenever you're making a call, the government would promote us to go for vaccine. So these are all the different kind of approach where people have followed mass marketing. So still now it is relevant. And one country which you can always remember when we talk about mass marketing is China. They focus on mass production. So mass marketing is an approach which focuses mainly on mass production, mass promotion, mass advertisement, so that they can pass on the benefit to the end user. Right. Now let us get into the main concept of today's session, that is segmentation. Now here, when we talk about segmentation, it is entirely different from mass marketing approach, or it is completely opposite to mass marketing approach, where when you say segment, what you do is that when you take segmentation, in segmentation, we try to divide the market into different segments or different groups, and these groups are homogeneous groups. So why do we do that? Why do we have to segment it? So that we can offer different marketing mixes. What do you mean marketing mixes? Those 4 P's of marketing, that is product, price, place, and promotion. So you are offering product X to one market. You are offering product Y to another market. You are offering product Z to another market. Then let's understand like this. Let's say that let us divide people who are having these teeth, people who are having sensitive teeth, people who are having a normal teeth without any issues, and people who don't have teeth. So this is how you divide the market. Now let's say that when you wanted to offer a product like Sensodyne, whom do you offer? Do you offer a paste like Sensodyne to those people who are not having teeth? Or are you going to offer Sensodyne paste for those people who are having a normal teeth, which is not sensitive? Or are you going to offer Sensodyne paste for those people who are having a sensitivity? This is what we call it as targeting. So which means when you are dividing the market into people who are having sensitive teeth, people who are not having sensitive teeth, people who are not at all having teeth, this we call it as segmentation. And you are choosing, okay, I'm going to serve this particular segment called people who are having sensitive teeth, and I'm offering a product called Sensodyne. That is what we call it as targeting. And when you are trying to capture an image in the mind of the consumer, because when you are decided that, okay, I'm going to focus on people who are having sensitive teeth, you're not going to be the only person. Sensodyne paste is not the only paste which is offering Sensodyne product. There were also other competitors also there. Colgate is also there. Some other companies might be there. So what happens is that you need to offer some kind of differential image in the mind of the consumer. That is what we call it as positioning, occupying a specific place in the mind of the consumer against your competition, which we call it as positioning. So now in today's session, we don't have much time to focus on all the three concepts, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. We will focus on one important concept, that is, we call it as segmentation. So having understood that segmentation is all about you are dividing the market. It is like a kind of variable. It's like a cut. Let's say that a cut could be a gender. You make a gender cut, you have two segments, that is male and female. And you are taking a variable like age, and you can have different segments like toddler, adult, middle-aged people, old-age people. So this is what we call it as segmentation. It's like a cut, which you are making it in a cake, where you can have different cakes for different people, right? So I can quote one more example. Let's say, for example, when you are having, think about that you are like a tour operator, and you are offering a kind of package, a place like Goa. Tell me, are you going to offer one product for all the market, or are you going to offer different product for different market? If you're offering one product, probably you are seeing a market as one. This is approach one. The another case, when you wanted to see a different market, you can segment market like this. Goa is a perfect destination for whom? For couple. So, and for people who are like bachelors. And third, for people who are somebody like, foreigners and people who are in their retirement age. So, which means that you can have 4 different segments. Another approach is that you can see Goa as one destination and you can have a standard package. Anybody can check in. Now tell me, do you think so that we need to offer different product for different people? Answer is yes. Say for example, let's say that you wanted to offer something like, candlelight dinner. Tell me the right segment that you can focus on. Of course, you can focus on honeymooners. And let's say that you wanted to have some kind of fun, sports and all those things. Probably you can focus on bachelor. May not be for, retirement people. So which means that when you talk about the marketing mix, when you talk about the product, it is different for different segments. So though you have a choice of offering one product at one price point to all the market and you ignore the difference, the better approach would be segment the market and offer different product. So it's not about the product which is going to change. The price also is going to change. Of course, tell me a particular segment which is very price sensitive. I would say it is bachelors, right? They might be students who are still not earning. A segment which is not price sensitive, I would say they are foreigners. They don't mind spending money. And I would also say that a segment like honeymooners, they don't mind spending money for Goa. So that means you can have different packages. The itinerary could be different, product could be different, price can be different, and in fact the brand ambassador can also be different. You can have a brand ambassador like Salman Khan for a honeymooner, right? So this is what it is, different for different segment, right? Okay, so I can have a small kind of, just if you are watching this particular video, you can just have a small assignment or a kind of interactive one where you can just take a sheet of paper and you can have a different package, different itinerary, different brand ambassador or a price for these kind of segments. You can have it like this, right? Okay, so coming to the different variables. So now we have got to know about what is meant by segment with few examples. Now let's talk about the classifications of the segment. Segmentation can be classified in general into different types. So now the one which you are seeing here is a theoretical classification. Okay, credit goes to big authors like Philip Kotler, but this is not just restricted only to this particular variable. Segmentation can be divided into different types. One, we can have it as geographic, demographic, or it could be a combination, a hybrid, which involves both geodemographic, psychographic, and behavioral segmentation. Let us get into these variables one by one. First of all, let us get into something like, geographic segmentation. What do you mean by this geographic segmentation? In geographic segmentation, you look at geography as a variable and you start dividing the market based on the geography. One classical example is which comes into my mind is an example of Nokia phone. Now Nokia, you all know that during the late 1990s, it once ruled the world. During the time, Nokia mobiles, especially the one which was launched in India, they kept the ringtone volume very, very high compared to other developed countries. Why? Because Indian culture is always meant to be a loudspeaking culture where you have a lot of noise. So to overcome that, they proposed a design where you can have a ringtone with a higher volume. That was not the case in other developed countries like UK or US because that is not required there. Similarly, if you take an example of Coke, the Coke taste differs in different countries, especially in developed countries like Europe, UK. You can see that the amount of sugar content in Coke is less compared to countries like India. So when you're tasting Coke or Pepsi, you can see some difference in the taste between India and other countries. Now this is also one more thing that you can always remember when you think about something like geographic segmentation, which means that you offer different product of different geography, right? It's not about different. I'm not talking about two different companies. I'm talking about a same company offering different product to different market. Right? Another one more variable which you can always think about is that demographic segmentation, where you can offer different product for different demographic segment. So we all know about Amul. Mainly it focuses on the milk and milk related product. And within Amul, if you take a variable like age, you can classify them into two types. One, you can have adults, another one kids. For kids, they have a product like Amul Cool, and for adults, they have something like Amul Cool Cafe. So they have different product depending upon the age. Take another example of Fair and Lovely. Fair and Lovely is for women, and for men it is Fair and Handsome. So like this, if you take a variable like demographic, you can have different product for different segment. Similarly, you take a company example like Titan. You have this Raga for women, and you have this gold watch for men, and you have something like Sonata for people who are budget conscious, and they also have something like luxury brand called Titan Nebula, and you have something like Fast Track for people who are into sports. So which means that if you take any variable, these variables can be divided, and this division is what we call it as segmentation, right? And this is how company have such kind of strategy. I'm just showing a kind of strategy where a company like Nivea offers. Look at it. What you can see is that we all know that this SPF, that is sun protection factor. So now when you are getting exposed to a place which is very, very hot, you need to have a higher amount of SPF, like SPF 50, 60, 70, so on and so forth. And one more thing, let's say that if your skin is a bit lighter in color, if you are white, then also you need a higher level of SPF. So this means that if you are dark, no need of higher level of SPF. You can have SPF 10, 15, 20 itself is sufficient. If you are light, higher level is required. And similarly, if you're staying in a country which is very cold, like Canada and other places, France, then also you don't require a higher level of SPF. But if you're staying in countries like Middle East, India, where the climatic condition is hot, moderate, then you require a higher level of SPF. So now, accordingly, you have such kind of chart where you have a matrix between temperature and the skin type. They have also considered age group also. So what they are doing is that they are using almost 3 different variables, not just 2 variables. One is temperature is one variable, another variable is skin type, and the last one they have also considered the age group also. So considering all the 3 variables, they have come up with some kind of matrix so that they can offer different product for different set of people. Okay. And look at this kind of segment. So now we have covered geographic segmentation, demographic segmentation, and geodemographic segmentation. Let us get into something like psychographic segmentation. Let me ask you a question. If I ask you that iPhone is for dash, maybe you would say it's for rich people. And another question I'll ask, like Android is for dash. Probably you would say middle class people. So Android, psychologically, we have a feel that Android is meant for middle class people and iPhone is for rich people. But let me show you that the research says that most of the iPhone users are poor. That means middle class or lower middle class. The same research also says that while Android is being used by many rich people. So the research is different, but what is happening here? So what I'm trying to say here is that if at all you wanted to own an iPhone, it is not necessary that you have to be rich. It is just that you are deciding that you wanted to go for an iPhone. So what I'm trying to say here is, more than the demographic profile, more than the geographic profile, it is a psychographic profile that really matters. So now, based on this kind of psychographic profile, we have a kind of classification, we call it as VALS. So this has been proposed by a company called, Boston Group, where they have divided the people into 8 different type of psychographic segmentation. You can just have a look at it, where they have divided into 8 types. And we can't just get into all these kind of category in a very, very short lecture, but I can just focus on these 2 categories, like, innovators and survivors. So innovators are those people who are tech savvy, high in resources, and survivors are those people who don't have much kind of resources and they're not very innovative also. Let's say, for example, if you have a product like iPhone, they would be the first target, we call it as innovators. And if you have something like, earphone, probably you can target for this kind of survivors. So other details, we can see that in the next video. Thank you very much.